Uh, okay, so I figured out that the idea of genetic annihilation is not so painful if you have the right symbol, because the symbol that they're using is like a, well, another loosely correlated um, adaptation, like hell was, like I explained before, the three different contributing sides that adapted for the modern purpose of that terminology. Uh, it may not be so much as like any one person's particular bent, that mistake, that whereas like we have been subverted through our alphabet, like the Hyksos, but over time, and some archons may have peeped it and gotten wise and been able to use it, right? So I'm saying, like, if you use the symbol for a tesseract, which is the plasma cutter, which is like Sithikosh, right? Or knife in a way. Like, it kind of go those two different directions, right? Knife cuts the way in four, like mandala, and the symbol for your environment being the plus. Then also a knife being a deity like feather, and you know, the burning tomb and the um and the hieroglyphs of the Western Hemisphere were paperless sovereignty and a worldwide consciousness grid in the pre-Diluvian Typhonian uh, civilization, right? That predates our understanding of like primordial, or primeval, reaching back way past 10,000 years, like way beyond that. You know what I'm saying? Where if you think like we have evolved in 10,000 years, I would put more stock, or I would put more um, emphasis on the existence of aliens than I would that being the case, right? Um, no, it's it's still deliberate, it's still intrusive, given that archons, it could be like obsidian comprised non-physical, you know what I mean, like light beings, like light bringers, over, you know what I'm saying, they like their usefulness is in induction, initiation to a hierarchical mystery system. That's how they exist. So I'm not saying that they're physical and they're gonna reach out and touch you. But while you're working with these like a code, we're working with this like a code, and we're starting to like um, agree to certain tenets, like certain or bolster certain things, because there's no principles, right? The only principle is the universal lack of principle. Then only a man can actually produce principles, right? Can only be a principled person by example. And then before that is all the missed opportunities to do such, and then we just yak 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 yak, just eat, just yak, just like eating on some, like, because we just basically, like, I understand it. Somebody told me the other day that we're ascension minded, you know what I mean, but on the way up, like, people, they seize on that on you, and they try to grab you and hold you, and they scratch you on the way up, they scratch you on the way, you know what I'm saying, on the way down, and you're on the way up, they scratch you. And then the magical and magic is a practice, like practitioner, like a law or a doctor, and people took the connotation of being scratched to say, I'm like, I'm a practitioner of magic now, I've been scratched. But you just saying that, you know what I'm saying, all, like, you know what I'm saying, because fucking to tell somebody that you've been scratched, show us on the doll where your uncle touched you, you know what I'm saying, like, it's all off, people, for reasons that you really have to get to the bottom of it, like, um I wouldn't just fucking come like telling everybody like every bad thing that ever happened to me. What am I, Stefan Molyneux? Do I want $1 right now? Like, it's uh and then if you really were, right, like, let's say you were really abused, and you tell people you're half your old friends is gone. They just can't. I don't. They can't deal with it. They can't deal. They just like they're just out. So I mean, not me, but I'm saying a lot of people who have came out and said that they were abused or something. Like they're explaining themselves like I am this way because I have so much on my plate. You know what I'm saying? I've dealt with this and I'm come up with that. And if you mention, that you were molested or something, then people are not. Some people are just cheesing. Some people are just out here cheesing. They don't know what to do with that kind of energy. It's like, oh, you're kind of fucking up. Like, what? Come on, man. It was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, um, yeah. And it does come down to how your account is set up or how you party and be the same. Okay, so back to the thing with the symbols, right? Why do I say that you age and die by that symbol, or you are reborn by that symbol, that cross, right? It's a crucible, you know, like to bind that physical aspect to a nature that is something etherical, or to try to trace back the authenticity, just try to steal, on a material basis. We're on a material gain basis with something like I'm gonna try to apprehend, what I'm saying, that which challenges my, being able to maximize material gain, material wealth, right? I'm after that, that expression. Again, it's ethereal. It's etherical. You have a chromosome that expresses itself as a gene that acts like a plant. And I understand also recently that there's a hate speech platform or something where people try to post offensive things that they are offended by, and chromosome is up there, or Yakub or whatever. Like, this is fucking ancient overlord, demiurge, host entity, some non-physical being. We give energy to it. It's in the past. It's part of your historicity. If you're on the planet, even if it's not your race or not your culture, like, it's still interesting shit that it happened to somebody else. Then how the fuck is it racist if I talk about Yakub? Do I have a personal relationship or no, or have seen a nigga like Yakub? Hell the fuck, I'm not saying that, but I don't need an arbitrator to come in and say, well, he doesn't mean this. He isn't saying that has fit. You know what I'm saying? And then if I say, like, oh yeah, those people were fucking accidentally set up a pedophile ring back in the 50s or some shit like that, called the founders or foundation cult or something like that. Well, did it happen to you? Like, this is these people. I'm about to punch y'all in the face. I hope you'll wake up in a second, you know what I'm saying? Because don't make this mistake. Only my mother is the only one that can make that fucking mistake. She does it all the time, too, by the way. That's her, as a matter of fact. But don't be that person, because I'll sock you on sight. And anybody else could. Any other decent stand-up and individual would. So, and all right. So the pain in the idea of the concept of genetic annihilation goes from the misappropriation of the symbol. If you just understand it's a burning tomb, then I'm not really tripping. I get it, you know what I'm saying? Because you didn't have children, you died without having children, so so you have genetic annihilation. But it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that can happen to anybody. So how would you even take that as a discredit when a lot of people who, like in the song, wanted to be a fearless warrior Indian chief, you know what I'm saying? And killed in their sleep, right? You know what I'm saying? So how could that be a fucking thing where you're like, well, I didn't get to fulfill this, so I'm like a star, that falling star. Whatever.